Eck! A sharp, overwhelming smell hit my nose, and I couldn't hold back a groan. The source of the smell was the new girl who had just transferred into our class. She had just finished introducing herself in front of everyone, and as she passed by me, the stench hit like a slap. That smell. It's unbearable. Has she seriously not showered? Just as I raised my head in shock, the teacher shot me a look. I quickly covered my mouth and nose, looking down. Even after homeroom ended and classes started, I kept my head down. Nothing the teacher said made it through to me. The longer I tried to bear it, the harder it became to breathe. Eventually, unable to endure it any longer, I said, "My family runs a spa. You should come by. It's free." The transfer student looked at me, her eyes full of uncertainty, and cautiously asked, "Are you sure it's okay?" At that moment, I had no idea this would become a turning point in my life. My name is Tom, and today I turned 60. I'm about to start a short break tomorrow, using some of my vacation days to enjoy a late summer holiday. I've got plans to watch a baseball game with my wife and meet up for dinner with our kids and their families. On my way home from work, with these plans in mind, I found myself reflecting on my past. My family has run a spa business for generations. As a kid, I idolized my grandfather, who worked there, believing he was the coolest man in the world. Though my brother took over the spa, I like to think I've inherited my grandfather's principles and approach to life. Even now, when I think back on him, I remember how he was admired and respected by both family and clients. One of his core beliefs was that honesty is essential. I often heard, "Lying is the worst thing you can do." My grandfather was also a baseball fan, and he used baseball analogies to explain everything. Once, he watched an opposing team's second baseman try to claim an out. "He's safe." The second baseman's foot left the bag. Grandfather declared this confidently, and sure enough, the umpire's call and the replay confirmed the runner was safe. See that? Even if you try to cover things up, the truth comes out. Lying isn't just wrong, it's pathetic. At that moment, the second baseman seemed downright pitiful to me, and I felt my grandfather was right. Years later, I realized he only made those points when our team had the advantage. But as a fan of the same team, it didn't bother me one bit. Since childhood, I had been playing baseball and even joined the high school baseball team, living a life immersed in the sport. Summers especially were all about baseball practice. Right after one of those summer breaks in 9th grade, we got a new transfer student in our class. On that day, there was a buzz in the class. Everyone, including me, was excited and a bit restless, eager to see the new student. Finally, at the teacher's call, she walked into the classroom. Wait, what? Everyone, or at least I, felt a sense of disappointment. Subconsciously, I had expected her to look like one of those stunning characters from comics or dramas. The girl who appeared was far from that image, looking rather plain and actually somewhat disheveled. Her face was mostly hidden behind long bangs, and her hair looked unkempt, not particularly clean. "Hello, I'm Kate. Nice to meet you." Her voice was so quiet that, without the teacher's help, we could barely make out her name. She kept her head down from the moment she entered, never once looking up. A chilling silence began to fill the classroom. "All right, Kate, go ahead and take a seat. Tom, there's an empty one right behind you." The teacher pointed behind me, and Kate began to walk. At first, her steps were slow and hesitant, but soon she quickened her pace in a rush. Then, the moment she passed by me, a strong, unpleasant odor hit my nose, and I groaned reflexively. It was like she hadn't showered in days. "What? Has she really not showered? Startled, I looked up, only to meet the teacher's glare. I quickly covered my mouth and nose, looking down. This smell, it's too strong. Could this really be coming from a girl? Even after she took the seat behind me, the strong smell lingered. As homeroom ended and class began, I kept my head down the entire time. Covering my nose with a tissue didn't help at all. The smell was still intense, and breathing through the tissue made it hard to breathe. Since my family runs a spa, I've been used to taking showers daily. Maybe that's why I'm so sensitive to smells. But her smell was beyond anything. It was as if she hadn't taken a shower even once this summer. I squirmed from time to time, trying my best to endure the smell. Though it was class time, I couldn't hear a single word the teacher was saying. The feeling of nausea kept building up until I couldn't stand it by the second period. "Excuse me, teacher, I don't feel well. May I go to the nurse's office?" When I said this, the teacher looked at me in surprise. "You look pale. Can you go by yourself?" I really was feeling unwell. I just nodded quickly and left the classroom in a hurry. As soon as I stepped into the hallway, I took a deep breath. My head cleared up, and at the same time, my grandfather's words echoed in my mind. Lying is wrong. Was that a lie just now? I was truly feeling sick. It wasn't a lie. But, lying on the bed in the nurse's office, I asked myself, what I did just now was just avoiding the situation. Hiding in the nurse's office wouldn't solve anything. I can't stay here forever. I need to go back to the classroom. But I can't endure that smell. Tomorrow, the day after, from now on, thinking of that filled me with dread. There's no way I can handle it. But is she all right with it? Is she really okay? She has to notice, right? Yes, she must have noticed it herself. That's why she kept her head down and didn't look up. Now that I recall, her jacket seemed new, but her skirt looked worn out, slightly faded. I remember my grandfather once saying that some people have financial struggles. Maybe she has some reason she can't take a shower. That's when I decided to turn to my respected grandfather for help. Specifically, I decided to ask him if he could invite Kate to the spa. It would be for her sake, but I couldn't stay in the classroom without doing it. With my resolve firm, I returned to the classroom. The smell was still overwhelming, but I convinced myself it would just be for today, and tried to endure it. I tore a piece of paper from my notebook and wrote a note. "My family runs a spa, so you can have a free visit. I'll take you there after school." While the teacher was writing on the whiteboard, I placed the note on her desk. After class, Kate stayed seated, watching me carefully. I also hesitated, wondering how to start the conversation, but I had to hurry since I had baseball practice. Luckily, my house was close by, so I should only be a little late. Is it really okay?" she asked timidly. "So, yeah, we need to hurry a bit, but come along. I'll talk to Grandpa," I said as I kept walking. Kate quickly stood up and followed me, trying to catch up. "Thank you," I heard her quiet voice behind me. I didn't look back, just kept moving quickly. I knew I wasn't being kind, but there wasn't any time, and staying ahead meant I didn't have to catch the smell. When we got to the spa, I went straight to my grandpa and explained the situation. "Tom's friend, at the spa. That's unusual." "Oh, I see. She's new at school." "All right." Watching him nod, I called out to her, letting her know she could come in. My grandpa took one look at her and seemed to understand everything immediately. "Kate, right? Take your time and relax here." I saw Kate accept a towel and robe, then quickly headed back to school. The practice routine was the same as always: running, swinging, and picking up bowls. After practice, I was covered in dirt and sweat, but I made my way back to the spa. and just as I arrived, she was coming out. So late. I wondered, but was even more surprised by how different she looked. Her freshly washed hair shone. Her forehead, free of bangs, was smooth and pale, and her cheeks were a healthy pink. There was a nice soapy smell in the air. It was the same soap I used every day, but it somehow seemed gentler, sweeter than usual. As I thought that, I suddenly became aware of my own sweaty, dirty self after practice. Kate noticed me. "Thank you for today. The spa, it was wonderful." "Oh, I didn't know what to say, and just replied vaguely. Right then, my grandpa came up to us. "Oh, Tom." Perfect timing. Walked Kate home. It was still a bit light out, but the clock had passed 7 p.m. Grandpa had called her house, but he didn't want her walking alone in a new neighborhood. I agreed it was the right thing to do. "Shall we go?" "Where's your house?" "Oh, yes, thank you." Kate looked relieved, probably feeling safer with company. Her house was close by, and within 5 minutes, we arrived at a home where her grandmother stood waiting by the door. "Grandma, I'm home. Sorry I'm late." Kate dashed over and started explaining about the spa visit. At some point, she gestured towards me, and her grandmother gave me a grateful smile. "Well, see you tomorrow." As I turned to head back, I noticed Kate waving beside her grandmother. The next day at school, I passed on my grandpa's message to Kate. "Come to the spa again today." Kate looked stunned, so I explained it was for a part-time job offer. "He'd like you to help with cleaning and tidying up during business hours. Grandma usually handles it, but lately her back has been bothering her." I told her to go hear the details at the spa, and she nodded happily. That was the first time I thought she looked cute. Of course, the smell was gone, and I could enjoy a peaceful school life again. Honestly, my school days were somehow better than before. With Kate sitting behind me, I found myself strangely motivated, and even classes started feeling a bit more enjoyable. One day, as I was finishing up baseball practice and arrived at the spa, I noticed Kate was just leaving. "I'll give you a ride." "Oh, it's okay, I know the way now," Kate replied hesitantly, but I went ahead and started walking in the direction of her house. We made small talk as we walked. She had lost her mom years ago, and recently her dad had moved away for work. For reasons I didn't understand, she couldn't go with him and had to stay in town with her grandmother. Kate was worried about burdening her grandma since her dad's financial support was inconsistent. She said she was happy to have a part-time job. I didn't want to put more pressure on grandma, so I tried holding back on taking showers, even though I love them. Being able to shower and help out, even just a little, with this job, it really makes me happy. "Thank you." She thanked me over and over. Then she excitedly talked about the things she had just learned at the spa. Kate seemed to enjoy telling me about her cleaning duties and selling drinks. Her smile was so dazzling that I looked away. "We could use more part-timers." "Your grandma's welcome to come too," I said, and Kate looked even happier, her voice rising with excitement. "Your grandpa even said so. He mentioned that my family could use the spa for free since I'm working." "Grandma's going to love that." Once again, her grandmother was waiting at the door when we reached Kate's house. I remembered I hadn't introduced myself the day before. "Hello, I'm Tom. My family owns the spa over there." "Hello, Tom. Thank you for yesterday and today." I'm so glad Kate's already got herself a boyfriend right after transferring here. "No, Grandma." Kate and I denied it simultaneously. I felt embarrassed, and Kate looked a bit flustered too. Then Kate told her grandmother about her part-time job after school, and I invited her grandma to the spa as well. I'd love that. Maybe soaking in the spa will make me feel young again. her grandma said with a cheerful laugh, clearly pleased. I walked her home. I told my grandfather when I got back. He nodded and said, "Sounds like Kate has a lot on her plate. Even with short after-school shifts, she's getting a small wage. But if it helps her shower every day, it's a little relief." He seemed pleased too. After that, she started coming to the spa regularly after school. As she got to shower every day, she became more cheerful, and she started fitting in at school. She made many friends, and was always chatting happily during breaks. By the time fall rolled around, it was already dark when her part-time shift ended. After baseball practice, it became my routine to walk her home. My grandfather didn't want her walking alone at night, and I enjoyed our little conversations. "So you're on the baseball team. Are you a pitcher?" "No, I play shortstop." "Wow, Tom, you must be good at defense." Through conversations like that, I learned she liked baseball too, and we bonded over it. Kate especially admired the world's home run record holder, but she said, "I love baseball, but I can't talk about it at home. Grandma and I support different teams, and it always ends in an argument." "Don't you even watch baseball on TV?" "In my family, we all root for the same team. My grandpa, me, the whole crew. We'd gather around the TV, cheering together. If anyone cheered for the rival team, it would definitely spark some arguments." Kate laughed and replied, "We do watch the games, but cheering, that's forbidden. Even if we want to root for someone, we have to hold back. It's a bit inconvenient, but she says that's part of what makes living with her grandmother enjoyable. If I ever want to talk baseball, I'll just come to you, Tom." Her smile shone brightly, even though the sky had darkened enough that I could hardly see her face. One day, our family spa was featured on a popular local TV show about neighborhood spots. On the day of the broadcast, my entire family, even my workaholic dad, left work early to gather in front of the TV. They said the spa was a beloved gathering place in town, a place everyone wanted to keep alive for years to come. It looked even grander on screen. My grandpa looked as cool as ever. Kate, who was cleaning, even appeared briefly, and the local people who use our spa spoke nervously but proudly about it, and about Grandpa. I felt a swell of pride for our family spa. The next day at school, my classmates came up to me right away. "Hey, Tom, your grandpa was on TV last night." I tried to act calm, but my heart swelled with pride. "Yeah, my grandpa's spa is the best." That was all I wanted to say, but they were more focused on something else. "Is it true that Kate's your fiancée? Is she living at the spa to learn life skills for marriage prep? Are you two already living together?" No, it's not like that. She just works there part-time." I quickly corrected them and looked over at Kate, who sat behind me. Her face was bright red, staring down at her desk. Seeing her like that, I felt my own face heating up. That day was the only time they teased me like that about Kate, but somehow the rumor that we were dating stuck around. I complained to my close friends, telling them it wasn't true. "You walk Kate home every day, don't you? So it's basically the same as dating." They wouldn't let it go, so I decided I needed to apologize to Kate about all this. On her way home from work, I walked with her, feeling like I needed to clear the air. "I'm sorry about those weird rumors going around after the spa was on TV." "Huh? Kate looked down, not meeting my eyes. By then, we were both sophomores. There was still a faint light in the sky, enough that we could see each other's expressions, which only made it more embarrassing. I know it must be annoying, having people say we're dating. When I said that, Kate raised her head. "Not really." "What?" "It's not annoying. It might be bothersome for you, Tom, but for me, it makes me happy." Her face was bright red as she spoke earnestly, and I didn't quite understand right away. So, does that mean? Yes, I like you, Tom. Her voice rang out, loud and clear, making me catch my breath. It was sudden, unexpected, even. After a moment of silence, she asked, "Is that bothersome to you?" "Nope, not at all," I hurried to reply. "It's not annoying at all. I like you too. But I was just worried, in case you had someone else in mind." It was the first time I told her I loved her, and I could feel the heat rising up my face, my facial muscles stiffening with tension. So I must have looked pretty awkward, but when I glanced at Kate, she was gazing back at me with the most adorable smile. After that, just as the rumors predicted, we started dating. Though, being the innocent pair we were, nothing really changed. We'd just walk home together after our part-time jobs, just like always. Except now I felt more motivated than ever. I worked hard, and even managed to earn the shortstop position on the team, something that made Kate so proud. When we lost in the third round of the tournament, Kate cried even harder than I did, truly heartbroken. In 11th grade, our team made it to the semifinals, and on the day of our loss, we cried together, feeling the weight of our hard work. But a few days later, my family threw a dinner party to celebrate reaching the semifinals, and Kate came along with her grandmother to join in the celebration. After graduating from high school, I went on to college, while Kate found a job at a local salon. Diligent as she was, Kate continued her studies while working, eventually earning her certification as a hairstylist. After finishing college, I found a job and married Kate. Not long after, Kate's grandmother passed away, but she had been so thrilled to see Kate in her wedding dress, something she kept mentioning with joy. For our honeymoon, we went to New York with the main goal of watching baseball. We stayed for 5 days, watching 3 games. On the second day, we witnessed a crushing loss and were both in a sour mood. But a walk-off home run on the third day's game put us back in high spirits. It's been 40 years since then. Our 2 children are now married, and we have 3 grandchildren. In a few days, the whole family is planning to gather together. They're throwing a party for Kate and me in celebration of our 60th birthdays. After a short break, I'll be back to work, and Kate will return to her salon. Nothing much changes, but it's a nice little milestone to celebrate. Tomorrow, the 2 of us plan to go to a spa and relax in the lounge area. It's, of course, my family's spa. My brother took it over, and it's still thriving, with newly renovated facilities. The renovations were done before my brother inherited the spa, in response to changing times. Now it's a cherished little community spot, beloved by the locals. 60 years, it's the same age my grandfather was when he worked at the spa. Compared to how cool he was, I still have a long way to go, or so I think sometimes. But then again, sometimes I think I'm doing pretty well myself. I can see the house now. It's the same house where I used to walk her home back in the day. I'm home. Welcome back. Kate peeked her head out of the kitchen. Her smile was just as dazzling as it had been all those years ago. Thank you for your hard work today. I've prepared the shower for you, so go ahead and freshen up. Seeing the small spots that had begun to appear on Kate's face, I chuckled, realizing how we'd grown older together. Noticing, she raised one eyebrow just a little. What's so funny? Go take your shower already. Today kicks off the big series for first place. She turned up the TV volume as she spoke. The game seemed to be just starting. She is smiling, and there's baseball to watch. It seems like life still has a lot to offer.